to ABC Interactive English. I am Mike.
I am Rainbow.
And thank you for joining us for part 2 of our look at some brain-busting situation puzzles.
Yes. Oh,
My brain's been busted by a puzzle, blown up.
So don't worry, you won't actually bust or blow up your brain, but you will be challenged to think outside of the box if you want to come up with the answer to some of these word puzzles.
Yeah, in yesterday's article, we learned a little bit about how to use these situation puzzles to make a cool game that you can play with your friends. You think up some clever question that doesn't have a simple answer.
And then the other players can ask yes, no questions as they try to figure it out. It sounds easy, but the point of the game is that it shouldn't be that easy.
No, it shouldn't be easy. It should be a challenge. So, in today's part of our Trends and Fads look at situation puzzles, we will be reading a dialogue between two characters named Paul and Joan.
So Paul and Joan will be giving each other some puzzles to solve, and this will help us understand how the game should be played.
And it also gives us a chance to see if we can find the answer before they do in the story. Sounds easy, right? Well, let's hope that the puzzle is fairly easy as well, but something tells me that this puzzle won't be that easy.
Oh, but first, before we begin reading, let's take a look at all of today's new vocabulary. 第二天的文章来看 Paul 和 Joan 玩情境游戏的对话。我们先来看几个单字。第一个单字 push， push 指按下开关或是按钮，在这边是动词 push the button to start the game。Push the button to start the game. 按下这个按钮便开始玩游戏。第二个单字 pound， pound 磅名词，这是国外的重量单位，而台湾则是用公斤 kilogram 或是 kg。Jan lost 50 pounds in half a year. Jan lost 50 pounds in half a year. Jan 半年内居然瘦了50磅，也是大约22公斤。哇，真是太厉害了。第三个单字 machine， machine 机器是个名词。This machine is very expensive. This machine is very expensive. 这台机器非常贵。最后一个单字 drop， drop 掉落是个动词。Don't drop the package. It might break. Don't drop the package. It might break. 别把包裹掉下来，会破的。好了，我们现在看完单字例句，一起来看课文。
Paul and Joan are playing situation puzzles. Ready? A man entered a room and pushed a button. In an instant, he lost 20 pounds. How did he lose the weight?
Was the room in his house? And was it big?
No to both of those questions.
Was the button for an exercise machine?
Explanation 1.
Okay, so part 2 of our article, Think Outside the Box with Situation Puzzles. It begins with a sentence which helps to set up what's going on. So what does it say? It tells us, quite simply, Paul and Joan are playing situation puzzles. That's it. So let's see what kind of puzzle one of them will be trying to solve today.
Okay, so our dialogue begins with Paul, who says to Joan, ready? Okay, so it looks like he's about to start the game. So he says, a man entered a room and pushed a button. 在这边加个补充单字 button， 这边不是扣子哦，是按钮，所以 push the button 就是按下按钮。Okay, so this is the beginning of the puzzle. Let's pay attention to exactly what Paul says. Every word of the situation he is telling Joan about could be a clue to help us find the answer.
Exactly. Listen very carefully. So, a man went into a room and pushed a button. So far, so good. Then what happened? Well, it says, in an instant, he lost 20 pounds. Huh. Okay, that is a little strange. He entered this room, pushed the button, and then suddenly he lost 20 pounds in no time at all. We know that it happened that quickly because of the phrase, in an instant. Yeah, and this phrase also happens to be the subject of today's first grammar point, so let's pause quickly right here so that Daphne can tell us more about it in an instant.
大家好，我是 Daphne。今天的第一则文法是 in an instant， 意思是立刻、刹那间。in 是时间介系词，意思是在。instant 是名词，意思是很短的时间。In an instant 就是刹那间，是时间副词片语，使用的时候通常放在句子的开头或者是结尾。例如 The gun battle was over in an instant. 枪战刹那间就结束了。
So, this man, he goes into a room, he pushes a button, and then suddenly he weighs 20 pounds less than he did a few seconds ago. It's a strange situation, but it's also a puzzle, that's for sure.
But Paul isn't finished. He has one more thing to tell Joan before she can start to think of the answer. He says, how did he lose the weight? Okay, weight 是重量或是体重。Okay, lose weight 就是减重。所以为什么他突然减重呢？ So, here it is. That's our puzzle.
Wow. Well, right now, I gotta say, I'm stumped. A room, a button, suddenly 20 pounds lighter. Now, it's not a magic diet machine because there's no such thing as a magic diet machine.
Oh, I'm sure it would be cool if there was.
It would be very cool if there was, but sadly there isn't. And the answer has to be based on things that are real and not just things you make up. Well, we have a bit more time before Joan starts to make some guesses, so let's head over to Daphne one more time so that she can tell us about the second grammar point of the day. We'll be here thinking.
第二则文法是 How does somebody 加原形动词，意思是某人如何做某事，是一句疑问句，用疑问副词 how 如何来询问方法。后方句子倒装，先说助动词，再说主词。例如 How do you do a handstand? 你是怎么倒立的？
And we're back. So, we have our situation puzzle, and now it's time to find the answer to the puzzle. But since we're only reading about this situation puzzle and we can't actually ask Paul, the guy who made the puzzle, any questions, but good news is that Joan, who is the other character in our story, well, she can ask him questions, and she's gonna start.
Let's keep reading on so we can see what kinds of things Joan wants to ask to help her find the solution. She says to Paul, was the room in his house and was it big? Okay, two simple but good questions. Remember, they can only be yes or no questions. I mean, the answer can only be yes or no. So both of these questions work.
Definitely. And in reply to the questions, Paul simply says no to both of those questions. Okay. So, the room was not in his house, and it was not a big room. Well, that's actually fairly useful because now we at least know where this situation didn't happen. It's not in his bedroom or bathroom or kitchen at home.
Right. And this also allows Joan to ask some more unusual questions. Since she knows this room isn't the man's home, where could it be? Well, Joan's next question starts to go off in a more creative direction. As we reach the break, she asks Paul, Was the button for an exercise machine? Ah, she's thinking that he lost that weight by exercising. Well, that makes sense, but it happened in an instant. You can't lose 20 pounds on a running machine that quickly.
No, you definitely can't. Okay, well, it looks like it's time for our break now. Let's pause for a moment and then we'll be back to finish off the dialogue and hopefully come up with an answer to our situation puzzle.
No, but that's an interesting idea.
Okay, I give up. Can you please just tell me the answer?
Sure, the room was an elevator, and the man pushed a button to go down.
Ah, so when the elevator dropped, he lost the weight.
Explanation 2.
So, Joan just asked Paul if the man in the situation puzzle that she is trying to solve, if he lost 20 pounds in an instant by pushing a button on an exercise machine of some kind. It's kind of a crazy guess, but who knows? Maybe it's also a brilliant guess, and it will help to lead her to the answer. So, what does Paul say in reply?
He says no.
Ah, dang.
Well, actually, he says no, but that's an interesting idea.
Well, that's not any more helpful. You're totally wrong, but in a really interesting way. Yeah, it doesn't get us any closer to solving the puzzle.
No.
So, there's nothing more that we can do here except to carry on reading. And back in the dialogue, it looks like Joan, well, she's had enough guessing. Enough of this. And she says, okay, I give up. She's quitting. She's had enough. She says to Paul, can you please just tell me the answer? All right, well, actually, we can't run out of time, so it's kind of good that she is going to let Paul solve the problem for us. But before we hear the solution, let's pause here so that Daphne can tell us more about our third grammar point.
第三则文法是 give up， 意思是放弃。give 是不及物动词，意思是支撑不住。三态是 give、gave、given。up 是副词，意思是完全。give up 字面意思是完全支撑不住，引申指放弃。例如 Cassandra was at her wit's end. As a result, she gave up. Cassandra 无计可施，结果就放弃了。
So it's finally time for the solution to the puzzle. Yay! I'm actually pretty stumped. I have no better guesses than the ones that Daphne made. So this puzzle is actually kind of difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. 补充一下 stump, S-T-U-M-P 这个是问题困难，所以我们被难倒了。可以说 somebody is stumped. We are both stumped.
Yeah, I just said that.
All right, so let's see what Paul tells Joan. He says, sure. He's going to give her the answer.
Yay.
Okay, he says, the room was an elevator and the man pushed a button to go down. You get it?
No, not really.
Oh.
So Joan explains more when she says, when the elevator dropped, he lost the weight. Okay, I think I get it. He lost the weight suddenly and for less than a second when the elevator started to go down. He suddenly lost 20 pounds.
当电梯往下时，他的体重就变轻了。Elevator 是电梯，还有一个常见单字 escalator， 就是手扶梯，两个是不一样的哦。Okay, so for just a tiny moment of time, for a second, for an instant, he was almost floating in the air and he lost the weight.
Yeah, that's clever. Nah, it's not the best situation puzzle I've ever heard, but quite clever, I admit. So there you go. Now you have an idea of what a situation puzzle can be. And we'll have another one for you tomorrow.
Yeah.
Hopefully that one will be just a bit easier for us to solve. But anyway, we'll see you back here for that. Until then, take care and bye-bye.
Think outside the box with situation puzzles. Paul and Joan are playing situation puzzles. Ready? A man entered a room and pushed a button. In an instant, he lost 20 pounds. How did he lose the weight?
Was the room in his house? And was it big?
No to both of those questions.
Was the button for an exercise machine?
No, but that's an interesting idea.
Okay, I give up. Can you please just tell me the answer?
Sure, the room was an elevator, and the man pushed a button to go down.
Ah, so when the elevator dropped, he lost the weight.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。今天我们来学习情态助动词的被动句。被动句的基本句型是主词加 be 动词加过去分词加 by 加受词。如果没有要特别强调动作的执行者，句型里的 by 加受词可以省略不用。那么常见的情态助动词包含了 can、could、may、might、should、must 等等。将这些情态助动词放进被动句里，就可以表达出某人或某事物可以被怎么样，应该被怎么样，必须被怎么样等等的。那它的句型是情态助动词 can、could、may、might、should、must 加上 be 动词加上过去分词。要提醒同学们，情态助动词后面要接原形动词，所以在这个句型中 be 动词就必须用原形动词 be。例如 Your homework should be done before dinner. 你的作业应该要在晚餐之前完成。再看个例句 The school rules must be followed by students. 校规必须被学生遵守。最后提醒同学们，如果要在句中使用频率副词，像是 always、usually、never 等等的，应该要摆在情态助动词和 be 动词之间。例如 A word once spoken can never be recalled. 话一旦说出口，就永远不能收回了。这句话就相当于中文的一言既出，驷马难追。以上是今天的讲解，我们下次见。See you next time. Bye. Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny， 又到我们1分钟的单元喽。那我们今天用1分钟的时间来复习4个单字，也会造句练习。同学们，您都准备好没？好，1分钟计时，开始。第一个单字呢是指按下，像按下按钮、按下开关那个按下，叫做 push。Please don't push the red button， 请不要按那颗红色按钮。可是你硬跟人家讲说不要按它，就是硬是很想要按。第二单字呢，它可以指磅，像是量重量的那个磅，几磅的咖啡豆啊，几磅的体重之类，这字叫 pound。Henry lost 20 pounds in 2 months. Henry 2个月瘦了20磅，哇，差不多有9公斤呢。第三单字呢是机器，机器怎么说？像叫做 machine， 像 washing machine 洗的机器呢就是洗衣机。OK，the coffee machine is broken， 哇，这台咖啡机坏掉嘞。第四个单字呢，它可以当动词来表达掉落、掉下来、落下，这字叫 drop。The pencil dropped from her hand， 铅笔从她手中掉了下来。好，太好啦！我们轻轻松松就要1分钟之内复习完4个单字，也造完例句喽。同学们表现很棒，那记得多多复习哦。我们下次见，拜拜。
See you next time.